Hello, everyone. It's 2:38 p.m. in the afternoon. Um, dang, I was trying to avoid so many flies and stuff. It looks like they cut the grass here. So, yeah, it's 2:38 p.m. in the afternoon. I don't know how long this video is gonna be, but um, I guess I'm gonna upload it while I'm here, but I won't um I won't publicize the video until either tonight or in the middle of the night or tomorrow morning or something like that. So, but oh, I don't know why I got the hiccups suddenly. The perps are probably planting me with fake hiccups to try to stop me from talking. So I apologize in advance for any noise. Um, my mind is a little bit scattered. I just woke up. Well, not just woke up, but not long, like maybe an hour or so ago. Um, I didn't want to be outside um, because of the flies, the gang stalking activity, and the noise. You know, the flying insects are pests, you know, outdoor pests. So, but, so it's like the abusive narcissistic gang, fake gang stalking cult network is, making my living and survival even harder. You know, I don't know if people have heard me in previous videos, but I tried to say, you know what, I don't know if I might upload this video around dinner time or something. But, I don't know if it might be around dinner time or later on. But, um, I, well, I guess it wouldn't do any good for me to ask for help now because, um, it wouldn't do any good to ask for help now because this video, I might do another shorter video and try to ask for help for just a couple of dollars for dinner. I mean, well, like if I could ask for help for like $2 to help make ends meet for enough funds for dinner, and I don't have to have lemonade, or anything to drink. I just have water, with my dinner. For me to just try to get $2 to help make ends meet for enough for like the red beans and rice dinner. So I think I accidentally erased the phone number to the dentist office that I was supposed to call. I think I erased it by accident off of my phone, deleted it by accident off my phone, and well, I guess I could always call the main office again, but like yesterday and today, well, today I got one, but yesterday I got yesterday or throughout this week I had at least 3 spam fake calls to my phone, you know, and I was like, that really bothered and upset me, you know, that I've been getting fake spam, gang stalking spam phone calls. So, um, there are certain professors. I don't know if if that's really true or not, but there's at least one professed targeted individual that I know that that said that spam phone calls is pings from gang stalking law enforcement, pretty much, you know. So, but I guess I got like, I think less than 3 hours of sleep. I don't know if I think I woke up at 12 something, not 1 something. Yeah, 12 something. But I'm still feeling like I just woke up. I'm still feeling tired, you know. But like I didn't even realize that you know, the, I don't have them anymore, thank God. But that bed bug, the gang stalking bed bug setup back in January, it re-traumatized me all over again and traumatized me even worse. That I've been finding myself like using way more rubbing alcohol than usual, and I've been forced to have to, and also that combined with gang stalkers invading my space and bumping into and touching me on purpose more frequently lately. If gang stalkers could stop violating and touching me, then that's less rubbing alcohol I could freaking use. You know, stay the fuck away from me. So it's like I'm sorry, I'm gonna speak my mind without biting my tongue, and I'm having no filter and I'm not holding back. Because even when I try to stay quiet about things and try to keep the peace, yeah, trouble still comes my way. You know, so like the like I can't believe the gang stalkers caused the idea, like the online stalkers, prank calling the libraries, you know, making fake prank calls and harassing and telling lies on me, trying to get me wrongfully kicked out and banned, you know, and then one of the janitors was a passive aggressive gang stalker. So the other um library janitors used to keep the bathrooms like so clean, but she used to work the longest and the most hours and work like from probably before the library opens all the way to at least um, between 4 and 6 o'clock in the afternoon, evening, whatever, and then there would be another lady that would come on and would clean the bathroom a whole lot better and be much nicer. I think it was a couple of other ladies, excuse me, that they seemed like they worked more part time. Excuse me, but it had to be the gang stalker, the one that illegally gets the most freaking hours and work full time, and that would be the one that would be like the covert passive aggressive perp, you know. And so when I try to tell one of the library managers about her passive aggressiveness, well, I couldn't say gang stalking, but her passive aggressiveness and harassing me and stuff and bullying me, you know, um, he told me, he tried to make like he didn't believe anything I said. Like, this was like back in October, right before I got wrongfully kicked out and banned for like a whole month. He specifically told me, he tried to make like he didn't believe what I said unless I had video proof of her, I'm going to say gang stalking and harassing and doing stuff to me. So then when I got her on film and showed, everybody who she was, with the gang stalking and harassment, and they wrongfully kicked me out and banned me for a month and falsely accused me of harassing library staff. When I was wrongfully kicked out and banned for like a whole month, like for the whole month of November. And then, after that, when I came back, there were new janitors, and they're men now, and they don't come as often, and they don't clean as often, and they don't clean or restock as often, and they don't clean as good. It's like with the women that were here, they were constantly keep the bathrooms stocked with toilet paper, always cleaning the toilets like routinely, like maybe every couple of hours or whatever, and always mopping the floors and everything. But the soap dispensers, it didn't seem like they kept that stocked or whatever, So now the bathrooms are dirtier, and I see some of the actual library managers that have to like restock the bathroom and all this, It's like all, and after also with the even from the first time when I got wrongfully kicked out and banned for a couple of days from back in May of last year, around Mother's Day, I think it was. The first time I got wrongfully kicked out and banned for like the weekend or whatever, and it's like that's when they started occasionally having, a police officer on site. And then after a while, they stopped having a police officer on site. And then after the gang stalkers prank called and had me wrongfully kicked out and banned for a month, like back from October and November, they went back to having police officer on site. And it's like all this behind me, So, but so yesterday, like it was like one day last week, I think it was, I said hi to one of the male janitors or whatever, and he just gave me this mean look, like his face was twisted up mad, and I don't even know if someone smear campaigned him about what happened, with the other library janitors or whatever. And so then yesterday I stepped outside to get something, and I saw him, and I said hi, and after I opened the door and I sanitized and sprayed my hands, with the OCD and everything, and I said hi, and he said hi back finally. He said, and then he said, "Don't you be spraying that in the bathrooms, no." And I said, "Well, I come on, man, flies and stuff." And so I said, "Well, I have like severe obsessive compulsive disorder and complex PTSD," and I should have added, being highly suspected to be on that autism spectrum as well, And so he's like, "Oh, well, I am sorry. I did not know that." And he mentioned about that there were people in a meeting or whatever, and it's like, well, I was like, ain't this something? Like, nobody ever told me anything about like, I've been coming here for almost, like, well, actually I came back in here sometime between 2017 and 18 probably 2019 I came here. I just don't remember. But I think I came here in 2018 after I became homeless. And when I was a little kid in foster care, the tutor, I was like in second and third grade, and maybe fourth. And the tutor, which was the foster mom's cousin's wife, the tutor had she used to take us here like every Friday, you know. So I remember this library from when I was a little kid in elementary school, you know. But come on, these flies. And I keep saying, wow, I'm gonna have a hard time this summer, probably even before the summer. I mean, I love the warmer weather, but I hate the flies and pests. You can't even get any peace because of flies, pests, mosquitoes, and whatever other weirdness you can't freaking identify, you know. And that if they have flies and stuff at restaurants and cafes and stuff, and for them the flies to come and target me and like harass me and touch me and me freak out really bad, you know. And so so yeah, like from like when I thought I was wrongfully banned from the Riverwalk the first time, back in like January of last year, I told the fake security guards at the Riverwalk, I said, well, y'all act like y'all don't want me here. And then I quit going to the Riverwalk for a while, and then I started coming to this library. And I tried going to the Waffle House over here, and it was a black female employee, not manager, that harassed me really bad. And that location of Waffle House is very dirty. And they had a white guy that he served me food. I mean, that was the second time I went to that location. He served me food with very dirty hands, and I never went back. And so, like at that location in Waffle House, the first time I went there, I tried to be a customer and eat and charge my phone and stuff like that. They wouldn't let me. Like they were very abusive and only restricted me to 30 minutes to eat, and wouldn't let me charge my phone or whatever. It was on a Sunday, and I had to wait like all the way until like noon. This library doesn't open, you know. So some of y'all were there to eyewitness what happened with Panera Bread on Labor Day last year. So I can't go back there. And I really don't want to be eating Illuminati fake fast food. Like they don't have McDonald's around here, but like Wendy's and Burger King and Subway, I don't want to be eating that. But I think Waffle House, it might be Illuminati too, but it ain't considered fast food. It's more like a restaurant, you know. But and Panera Bread, I believe, is an Illuminati fake corporation as well, but they supposedly have cleaner or healthier ingredients like smoothies and stuff. And so it doesn't look like they have a lot of breakfast options in this spot, in this area, you know. So like for the Labor Day incident at Panera Bread, I don't know how the stalkers illegally found out where I was at. And they kept on spamming the chat with the location where I was at. And I had my phone location turned off. And like I was already getting gang stalked by the employees there. And like the employees, they be loud like every morning. And like talking loud and acting goofy and stuff like that. Sometimes I would have good experiences and be treated well, and other times I would be gang stalked and perked with the food or food service or whatever, and sometimes they could be really bad and really nasty with it. And it's like what um, almost every Panera Bread experience. Even in Pensacola, I could not go to Panera Bread location without being perked. And I'm like, what is wrong? You know, but I don't even like Panera Bread is like another Starbucks with being so like pricey or whatever. But sometimes I could only freaking afford like a $2 bagel. So or there was always free stuff to redeem, and it's like for me to eat just a $2 bagel for breakfast with nothing else, like just $2 bagel with maybe cinnamon, sugar, and butter or something, and water, and nothing else until dinner time. You know, and then so it's like a lot of lunch and dinner options around here, but not so much breakfast options over here. And for me to try to find somewhere that I could be comfortable and relaxed with my OCD, where if the restaurant ain't too dirty, if the restaurant is clean, where I can be relaxed, and if I can be welcomed at a restaurant or something like that. So um like at the Panera Bread at this location, like I thought the food was so delicious and so good, like the sandwiches and stuff. But they would perk me by giving me sandwiches that's too cold and get an attitude and refuse to warm it. It's like they would make sure that like the food would be like they would give me like cold sandwiches to eat. And sometimes at PJ's Coffee they would give me cold sandwiches. Well, they haven't done it in a long time, but once certain workers had left, they quit. They quit gang stalking me and treat. Some of them was treating me nicer. You know. So like the abusive, narcissistic, fake gang stalking manager at Panera Bread. Like when fake Darnell was sabotaging my live stream and I needed help with a hotel room, and he kept illegally cutting me off and lagging the stream and messing with the live stream and triggering my Tourette's. And twice the manager harassed me and falsely accused me of being too loud. Like what happened here at this library. What happened on the day before Halloween. I was trying to get help with a hotel room, and it was raining or supposed to be raining, and fake Darnell kept sabotaging me trying to get help and lagging, manipulating the live stream, and I don't want to be out here right now because of the noise and the gang stalking and the flies and pests. And the pests were out really bad that day, and I had a small amount of rubbing alcohol left, so that's why I tried to not go outside, but like they just had a crowd of people voting and stuff, and the lobby was pretty loud, but like nobody told them to tone their voices down. And I heard other people being loud. But when fake Darnell was triggering my Tourette's and harassing me during that live stream on the day before Halloween, and I eventually did get help with hotel that night, because that night was in the middle of the night. It was like right before Halloween, and people were trying to make sure I got help with a hotel for Halloween because the stalkers were threatening to ritually sacrifice me for Halloween. And fake Darnell was harassing me and threatening me with death and saying no one is going to hear your blood curdling screams and everything like that. you know. So excuse me. when I'm, panicking and having Tourette's episodes, and be like, "Fake, done now, quit," um, when they're triggering my Tourette's, where, on purpose and think it's funny, and getting me wrongfully, setting me up and getting me wrongfully kicked out of and banned from places, and manipulating people to think that I'm the nuisance and troublemaker when it's them. And so, the fake, that manager at Panera Bread, he was already a perp, and I didn't see him that much. It was a black manager that was more cool and more nice, around that time. But that white manager was a perp, and twice he harassed me and tried to falsely making like I was talking too loud. I'm like, well, the music was already excessively loud in there, and you don't say anything when your employees clown around and talk loud and act goofy and laugh and stuff. So he had it out for me because he didn't want me there in the first place because of me being homeless and being targeted. And he was probably a racist against black people too. You know. And like y'all saw what happened on the live stream that day. Some of y'all didn't, the newer comers didn't see that. But like I've been trying to live stream and get help with all day that day on Labor Day, and I eventually got a little bit of help with funds for dinner, but I was starving all day that day, and all I had enough money for was like a $2 bagel. Oh no, I think I just had enough money for like a $2 bag of chips or something, and I was starving and so hungry that day, and I really was craving one of those brownies, So, but yeah, at the Waffle House, this location, I only went twice, and it was a black female that kept harassing me. Well, if your tables weren't dirty, then I wouldn't have to spray and sanitize. Do your job and clean the freaking tables if you don't want me cleaning and sanitizing. So I just, don't go to that location of Waffle House anymore. I still go to certain Waffle Houses, but I don't get to go as often or as much. But that location, I don't go anymore. But, that same day of the same incident where the black female was harassing me and wouldn't let me clean the table and try to, just cause me trouble. And I can't charge my phone up in there, so that's another reason why I don't eat there. I could have get me a sausage biscuit for $3. Or is it sausage or sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit for $3? But it's weird because certain items are, like, you mean you could get like a sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit for the same price you could just get a biscuit? That's weird. I don't understand. But anyway, I don't remember if it was a sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit or just sausage biscuit you could get for $3 at Waffle House. So... But at Wendy's you could get like 2 for $3, like 2 sausage biscuits. But as I said, I be trying to stay away from, Illuminati fake fast food and stuff. Try as much as I could, and try to support local businesses. So, or something that's organic. But it's harder now with me being homeless and poor and living off of whatever I could, So like, so when when I first started coming here, a couple of times last year, I tried to go to this Waffle House. So, excuse me, they force farting me. That's one option that's crossed off the list that I can't go to for breakfast. I just quit going to that location. But, so I was going to PJ's Coffee almost, every morning on the mornings that I have to come here. And then, everything was like no problem. They were nice, normal, and everything. And then, there was a situation where the manager put a new sofa um in the little dining area of the cafe, the PJ's coffee place. And it was weird because um well, the so-called owner and excuse me, I don't know if the owner is the same person as the founder. um and I don't know if she's the owner of just this location or she's the owner of all locations, or whatever. But um with me and my OCD, like, it was a new sofa, but I saw it looked like people put stains on the sofa already. So I put down a black plastic trash bag to sit down on the sofa, and the so-called owner looked over the camera, the security cam. Wow, this fly's flying so close by me. And so, like, the security cameras, um she looked over the security cameras and told one of the managers on duty to try to tell me not to put the plastic trash bag over the what do you call that, the sofa. And then the owner told the manager on duty to tell me that, that I'm being, like, disrespectful and inconsiderate of others, and she falsely thought I was trying to take up the whole sofa for myself. And I thought that was pretty weird, you know and so then and it wasn't even really crowded up in there, and it was a Sunday morning. And the manager on duty, she was very nice, but she had that Masonic fake red hair. She was a white female. um but then she was like, and then shortly after, the owner started telling the employees to she started telling them to charge me charge me for cups of ice water, and then try to say that, oh, the ice and the water is a special kind of filtered or whatever, you know. And then after that, you know, they started gang stalking me and doing stuff like serving me cold sandwiches and stuff. And then certain workers were doing gang stalking and weird stuff, and it seemed like that place looked like there's a high turnover, you know, with the employees. Or some people that stay there, I'm wondering, how could y'all tolerate this lady? This lady's freaking toxic. So, sometime after that incident, I started to go to Panera Bread every morning on the mornings that I came to this library. And, to use the bathroom, eat breakfast, and charge my phone. And then when the Panera Bread incident happened, I started coming back to PJ's Coffee. And, like, they would still have some of their gang stalking activity. But some of the workers seemed like they toned it down and didn't gang stalk me as much. But I noticed that when I see some of the, just like on the bus, I see some of the same passengers on the bus, like, every day, almost every day, So it's like sometimes I see some of the same customers, like, almost every morning that go to the coffee shop. And then so yeah, like the employees, they kind of toned it down with the gang stalking activity and started to be a little nicer. But I noticed that other people, when they come in, they say hello, hi, welcome in. But when it comes to me, oh, it's like they don't even tell me that. When I come in, they don't tell me hi, welcome in. It seems like they roll their eyes and have like this dreadful look, like, oh, here she come, you know. But off and on, for like since last January, I've been, you know, off and on coming to PJ's Coffee. Nobody ever told me anything about sanitizing and spraying with the alcohol, you know. And so yesterday morning they had a fly that bothered and violated and touched me, and I freaked out and I sanitized and sprayed. And they had a new face, a new guy that's that T word, if you get what I mean. You know, that T word. Trans, you know. And he gave me this long, mean, angry stare with that stupid fake mask on his face. And he wears glasses, you know. So, and he has like a long, dark, kind of curly ponytail. And he's kind of new, but walks around like he think he got the authority of the manager, you know. But there are some other instances and other things, but I'll be all day trying to talk about every little minute little detail, you know, about what I experienced there. But so I don't even know if he might have snuck behind my back and told the so-called owner about me, or if I don't know if he told her about me, or if or if she just, you know, started saying stuff on her own. But there was another, I don't know if she was biracial or black, but she damn sure wasn't really Creole. Or maybe she might have been Creole, but she sat down and talked to me this morning, and told me about the owner having a problem with me spraying the alcohol. See, 2 days in a row, someone telling me about the alcohol, when both here and the PJ's Coffee, nobody said anything for like almost a whole damn year and a half. Nobody said anything for like almost a year and a half. That's how I know it's part of the gang stalking. And they're just looking for an excuse to pick with me, you know. So PJ's Coffee, at least this location, you lost a freaking customer. You know, but the manager or whatever that sat down and talked, well, she said she's the manager on duty. She sat down and talked to me. She's pretty big herself, you know. And she's like, well, I know you come here a lot and you like to eat good. Like, how? I think she was perping me with that, because, like, how you going to talk about me liking to eat good, or when you big too, you know? So she's like, I know you come here a lot and you like to eat good and this and that, whatever, you know. And I know you spend a lot of money here and this and that. Something she said. And so then she mentioned about that the owner, that they've been meaning to tell me for quite a long time about me spraying the rubbing alcohol or whatever, you know. So like then you know, she told me, was nice about it, you know, saying that, relaying the message from the so-called owner. And she was saying that the owner been wanting to talk to me for a long time or whatever, or for some time, and that they had a few instances where the owner, you know, supposedly came up in there and, you know, smelled the rubbing alcohol. Well, I don't even know who the actual owner is. but I thought it was a Hispanic woman or whatever. But I don't know who the owner actually is. But it was weird that the manager on duty, she also told me that 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 the manager was watching on the security cameras to watch her talk to me about this situation. And I'm like, wow, that, like, what the hell is the so-called, I mean, that the owner was watching her on the camera to talk to me on the security cameras, talk to me about the situation. It's like, why does this so-called owner, like, sneak behind security cameras and stalk and watch everything and, and be like a so-called Karen or a bitch, but, then, so, yeah, she told me about that, that me sanitizing and spraying with the rubbing alcohol is a health hazard. I'm like, nobody in my entire life ever said such a thing like that. And then she's like, well, the owner, she said, one time I was spraying, she said, well, one time I was spraying such and such with Lysol, and that the owner told me I couldn't spray the Lysol, and that, and that it was a health hazard, and that they didn't want to smell anything except for coffee. Now, like, what else the hell do y'all spray and sanitize and clean with? I'm pretty sure, and she was lecturing me or telling me about, chemicals. Excuse me, chemicals, Now, like, well, I'm pretty sure when you disinfect and clean the bathrooms and wash the dishes or whatever, I'm pretty sure you're using freaking chemicals. So I think that the fake owner just was looking for a reason for me to just to pick with me on purpose so I wouldn't be able to come back. And so the manager on duty told me I was not banned, but PJ's Coffee, like, at least this location, you lost a good customer. Even though a few, not a whole lot, but some of the customers, some of the customers would gang stalk me as well, of course. And when I was illegally swatted here at the library, and and then like a week or two later, one of the same police officers that came out, he illegally knew my name and said, "Oh, hi, Candy," or whatever, and pretended to be fake nice and ignorantly laugh and thought the shit was funny, It's like, after all that demonic evil shit you did and bullying me and stuff, don't pretend to be fake friendly and trying to talk to me. And then one of the workers there was trying to use noise harassment and tap her nails on the table on purpose. It was a narcissistic ghetto black female, my own people. It was she was kind of darker brown skin, and she was about just as short as me and pretty skinny, and she's like highly narcissistic and abusive, and act like she thinks she got the authority of the manager, but I don't know if she was actually the manager or not. But she wants to try to play manager, but then act like she don't know how to work the cash register. So, and I see her every once in a blue moon, but that day, she was perping me by tapping her nails on the counter when the police was right there on purpose to try to get me, knowing I have hypersensitive ears, And some of the workers there, act like as if they're annoyed or disgusted with me, or like they don't like me or whatever. And some of them act pretty weird. And like, they also were one of the places that would serve me cold sandwiches and perk me by serving me cold sandwiches or whatever, or cold pastries, and or make sure it's not warm enough when I said, can I please have it extra hot? So so now on Sunday, I don't know where I could go to wait around for this library to open, or what to do on a Sunday when I gotta be homeless out on the streets. You know. So it's like the stalkers, they just making everything harder for me. Like I find myself, instead of using like this maybe half of this bottle, this is 10 ounces. No, I'm sorry, 8 ounces. This is an 8-ounce bottle. So for me to use like 2 ounces or 4 ounces to spray and sanitize when I get off the bus, excuse me, like for the past almost month now, I've been having to, because of stalkers violating me on the bus, now I have to use like 2 entire freaking bottles to spray, and it takes 30 whole minutes for me to spray down all my jacket, both of my bags, all my clothes, and everything. And the perps think this shit is funny. And then they don't want me spraying and sanitizing. You know, when I get off the bus, after I get off the bus, you know, I have to spray and sanitize my whole freaking body. And the perps just being disrespectful on the bus. Like, and then me being ganged up on and bullied by passengers and bus drivers. And bullied, harassed, and laughed at by both passengers and bus drivers. Ganging up on me. You know, but if I had like a permanent place to live, or, you know, it's like the gang stalkers are keeping me forced homeless and poor. Won't let me work or whatever. I've been traumatized, got complex PTSD, OCD, and highly suspected of being on the autism spectrum or Asperger's. They don't use Asperger's anymore, or have high functioning autism. So I don't know how I could get tested for that, and it's not free to get tested for that. So yeah. Oh, but one thing that I forgot to say, the nice manager on duty with the Masonic red hair, when I was told about the couch incident at PJ's Coffee, I think that manager got fired. And I never saw her again. And she was one of the nicer ones, you know. But anyway, so back to what I was saying just now. So like my OCD and everything, it stems from foster care abuse and that foster mom. And I talk about the abuse and the foster care, everything all the time. You know, from being a little child and being used as a cleanup slave. But they say that's labor trafficking. Like they said what the foster mom did to us was labor trafficking. And she had us in a cult, and what she did to us was labor trafficking. She practiced voodoo and witchcraft, you know, us being affected spiritually. And, you know, to be treated like less than and treated like you're nasty because you're a foster kid. You know, stray animals and stray pets get more sympathy than homeless people and foster children. If we've seen it, that throwaway that nobody wants. And it's like most foster kids are children who are like undeserved to be rejects of society, no matter how disabled you are. Excuse me, you know. And it's like they have that website that I cannot find, this foster care database of the so-called children that nobody wants. And it really breaks my heart, you know. And then a lot of foster children, a lot of them grow up with no guidance and grow up to be forced homeless, struggling and suffering on the streets and stuff, and or incarcerated. So for me to be that throwaway foster child that nobody wants, and to be called nasty from 4 years old, like if you come in the kitchen while the foster family member's cooking, they're running you out of the kitchen and yell at you and call you nasty, dirty, whatever. And then the foster mom used to use us as cleanup slaves. And then as I got older, getting raped and stuff like that and having things happen to me, and therapy and psychiatry and all that was zero help all these years. You consider a fake patient for life when it comes to mental health. But how come if you're a cancer patient and you're healed, you don't need that doctor no more? But they want to keep you a patient for life, all for the money, all because of what a fake fraud doctor thinks your mental health diagnosis is. Their personal opinion of you. So psychiatry and the mental health system have been exposed as a fraud, and also like the mental health system have been exposed as a fraud, and also I can't even think properly. Something else I was gonna say slipped my mind, but they probably hit me with directed energy weapons to try to make me lose my train of thought. So and like me dealing with narcissistic abuse and foster care abuse. The foster mom was her own cult leader. She ran her own household like a cult and treated us like cleanup slaves. I didn't know she was our MK Ultra mind control handler. And I was thinking yesterday and earlier today about, it was crazy that for me to be 19, 20 years old and still being treated like a child. Like 19 years old, the foster mom wouldn't let me date or have boyfriends. Or wouldn't let me have friends or nobody I could talk to on the phone. Wouldn't let me have a job. Kept me forced, isolated, and stayed in the house all day, every day. Damn, flies are getting worse. Anyway, sorry. But so then the foster mom used to tell me that I'm gonna grow up to be a so-called schizophrenic, drug-addicted, homeless prostitute living underneath the bridge. And every opportunity at success, she sabotaged it. If she was illegally rich, living a high life, why the hell she wouldn't let me have shit? And if she did let me have something, it was very controlled and quickly confiscated. I mean, for her to treat me like she owned me, like property to be owned, and then I became an adult, she still tried to control me but did not love me or care about me. I had to kiss her ass and call her. And she would make like she didn't want to be bothered, But eventually, like I was living in Denton, Texas, depressed all day, not being able to find a job, and like I was like very suicidal, depressed, and not being able to find a job, and just stayed in the house all day, just freaking stayed in the apartment all day, depressed. Same thing in Los Angeles. But Los Angeles, I woke up and found out the truth, and wasn't dealing with the mental health system anymore. I broke away from the mental health system on my own. Found out the truth and broke away from the mental health system on my own. And come to find out after research, finding out that the mental health system is satanic and not of God anyway. So, yeah. But I'm under the assumption that that I won't be able to get my taxes back until I won't be able to get my taxes back until maybe around April 23rd, like the day of that court, but I could be wrong. But so when I was upset that the man at the tax place, was it last week or the week before? I think it was last week. That he violated me with my OCD, and he was perp me and did that shit on purpose. Strategically waited until after the taxes was done, the paperwork, and then he waited till after and took that pen off the floor, and then placed the pen on my paperwork. I freaking had a meltdown, freaked out, and was so upset. Like, I knew he was gonna fucking do this. Like, why? And he had disease-looking, dirty hands. I don't remember what his name was, but I guess the manager that was over it, she was abusive, narcissistic, hard, and mean. Her name was Miss Mildred. I think I had an issue with her being rude last year, and like the Wi-Fi. I'm sorry, not the Wi-Fi. I was trying to say my phone data was not working. My phone data was not working. And I accidentally said, oh, the Wi-Fi is not working. I said, oops, with my sleep deprivation, I accidentally said Wi-Fi just now. And I meant to say my phone data was not working. And she got an attitude and got really rude and said, oh, there's no Wi-Fi or whatever, And you should have printed that out before you got here. She was very nasty with it. You should have printed that out before you got here and that or whatever, And so then, excuse me. So, like, right then and there, I knew she was a narcissistic abuser. The way she rudely responded to me, Excuse me. And so that made me feel upset. And then they had a girl that looks like the new singer Tyler. They had a girl that looked just like her. And then I guess her uncle was perping with the red shirt. Excuse me. And then and they had a couple other people there getting their taxes done. They came after me. And it was a maze and a hard work to try to find that building. I said the sacrifice I took to get out of my rest from that hotel room and running errands all day, I'm putting up a fight and I ain't giving up. So I fought until I found the building. Or found the exact, whoa, come on, see the flies from touching me. And so, like when she went to look over the paperwork that the man did, because they send a second person to look over to make sure everything is correct with the filing your taxes, and I was upset at him violating my OCD and everything with the pen. He knew what the fuck he was doing. And so the woman, Miss Mildred, she said, oh, what you mad? What you mad because you didn't get as much money as you thought you was gonna get back? I said, no, it's not that. I'm mad at something else. And then I kind of told her what was bothering me. But when I said, well, wow, with the Amazon ebooks last year, I said, wow, I only got $11.19. And the man, he said, oh, it's better than nothing. But I was just saying that because the stalkers lie to people and say I get so much money. But at least if I am getting a lot of money from the ebooks, at least I earned it. But so I mean, I was just trying to prove that I earn almost nothing. And the stalkers always throw in my face talking about you get 2 incomes, you get this, you get that. The stalkers, they don't know what the fuck I get. And it's none of their business. So, excuse me. As I said, if I'm forced to live in hotels and be homeless, that's more expensive than having a place to live. But the gang stalking is designed to drain the target of our finances, and force us to be dependent on others so others can control and enslave us more. So, yeah, but then Miss Mildred had gave me a ride in her, first the man was going to give me a ride to the bus stop, but then Miss Mildred gave me a ride to a certain spot downtown, and she pretended to be fake nice and acting like she wanted to help me out after I rode in her car. And then after I got out of the car, I realized that she had strange tail lights. And I'm like, oh, so Miss Mildred, and the bitch was on her way going to fucking church. She was on her way going to a church choir rehearsal or something like that. Excuse me, or a church meeting or something. And yeah, I'm supposed to, I don't know when, they didn't even tell me when I'm going to get it. But I'm supposed to get only $81 back in taxes. And she tried to make I was just money hungry and greedy. They last year, they said all I was going to get back was $6 from taxes. So, but they said, oh, you didn't earn enough or you don't need to file. So I didn't. But this time, they told me I didn't earn enough or I didn't need to file. And she tried to make it I was just being greedy for money and just wanted a tax refund. But I didn't know that I wasn't required or didn't need to or I didn't earn enough. And the stalkers were harassing me, telling you, when are you going to get those taxes done? You better get those taxes done. Or they lie and say, oh, they will harass and say, we're going to report you to the IRS saying you're scamming people and that you don't report your taxes and you don't report this, you don't do this, you don't do that. It's none of your fucking business. And I think that people being jealous of other people, you don't have to be jealous of me. If someone is jealous of me for being a so-called YouTube content creator, what's stopping you? But the stalkers don't have any original content. They steal my shit and try to discredit me, and they're trying to make money off of me. The fake perp, the dirty section, Cindy, and a few others. And the fake aggressive Defiance TV perp, my twin sister, and all these other gang stalkers. It's okay for them to monetize trying to discredit my originality. Nobody called them a scammer and a fraud. They have houses, cars, stable, loving families, stocked food pantries, and I'm sitting here struggling to survive. So, so yeah, and with that $81 that I'm supposed to get back for the taxes, I don't know when I would get it because I wasn't told when I would get it, but I'm speculating that it might come in 3 weeks from last week, maybe 2 weeks from now. you know, or maybe in less than 2 weeks from now. But I don't know when I will get the tax refund back. But, that Miss Mildred lady trying to make it like as if I was being greedy and senseless. I thought I had to file for the taxes, you know. But the $81, um, if I could have got that $60 motel, that could have been enough for the motel, one motel night and 2 meals. But now that I'm wrongfully banned from the cheaper places, it's barely enough for one hotel night, since I'm very limited on what hotels and motels I could go to. So if I get lately, I've been getting under $175 per month, with the YouTube AdSense. And then consistently for the past few months. But like in October, I got $314. And that was because when Ana Estrada and them were on here. But now, it's like after having feud and altercation with perps and stuff, and it's like the less support I get, and the more people turn against me and betray me. So I'm earning less. That was that only one time I earned that much. Like when I first started getting AdSense, I would get like about $30 per month, and then every 3 or 4 months, like ever since April 2023, like every 3 or 4 months, I would finally reach that $100 threshold to get the YouTube payout for a little over $100. But then after last summer, stuff started boosting, and like now start to get like maybe 100, 200, and that one time it was 314, and then now I get like under $175 on average every month ever since like December or January. And so they cut out the $24 SSI check, and I only get $727 for Social Security. And I have the phone bill to pay. I have to pay for my bus passes. I have toiletries, hygiene items, and other expenses, laundry, food. And when I was getting like $960 something last year or the year before, I used to be able to get almost a week of like maybe 5 or 6 days of hotel on my own without having to ask for anything. And then, excuse me, and now the most I could do is 2 or 3 nights per month out of my Social Security check. So, and the Social Security check that I get now, that $727 plus the maximum $175, that is still less than 900 something I used to get. 960 something that I used to get. And they're forcing me to be homeless, trying to control me. And it's like they're forcing me to be homeless so that more people would control me, and I would have more rules to be forced to follow. So if I was in my own apartment or my own house or a hotel room that's clean and where I'm relaxed and comfortable, I probably can do like only a few sprays of the rubbing alcohol per day or something, or maybe none at all. But in dirtier hotels and motels and stuff, maybe I might go through, the first day with sanitizing the hotel room or whatever, I might go through, depending on how dirty it is, I might go on average like a half a bottle or 1 bottle if I got to spray down the bed and this and that, the bath, spray down the sink and wipe the toilet, spray and wipe the toilet, the tub and everything. But if it's already clean enough that I don't need to do that, and I'm just by myself, like if there's breakfast at the hotel, if me pressing the hotel button, the hotel elevator buttons, and opening and closing the door, coming in and out, I might have to spray a little bit of the rubbing alcohol then and go down and eat breakfast and, sanitize a little bit. But, most of the time, after breakfast, I stay in my hotel room all day and don't come out. On rare occasions, sometimes I might go out and get me something to eat. But I just try to stay away and try to stay out of trouble and rest in my body after being on the streets for so long, for so many days. And then when I'm resting my body after being on the streets for so many days and being sleep deprived, and then stalkers harass me and call me lazy. The online stalkers, harass me and call me lazy. And it's like I'm resting my body from being consistently out on the streets and having no place to sleep or lay down for 7 whole freaking days. What do y'all expect? Y'all think I'm supposed to be some damn mindless robot? I'm a human, I need rest. And then they call me greedy, but then they brag about being in their comfortable, cozy beds, having steak and red velvet cake brownies and stuff. And they're the ones that sold their souls. So it's like the less people that I'm around, because I realize rich people can be dirty too. Rich people, they can be dirty or got filthy habits. I thought it, back then, I thought it was just homeless people. But then I realized there can be some clean homeless people too. Some. But that's kind of a rarity. Kind of rare for a homeless person to be so clean. And neater than me. Or keep themselves up. But, if they force urinate me and I get a little pee in my pants and I'm in the bathroom, sometimes I might have to go and enter into a bathroom stall. And there's, like last night at the restaurant, there was doo-doo on the toilet seat. So there was nothing else to clean. So I sprayed and sanitized with the rubbing alcohol and wiped it off. And they ran out of toilet seat covers. And I sprayed and had to scrub. It was caked on, dried up doo-doo on the toilet seat. That took a lot of hard, deep scrubbing to get that dry doo-doo off the toilet seat. If there might be menstrual blood, pee, or doo-doo on the toilet seat, So, but yeah, like, if I'm in a clean hotel room, the less people that I'm around, and if I'm by myself, I don't have to perform as much OCD compulsions and stuff. And psych meds do not freaking help. It's just that people shouldn't have fucking abused me in the first place. That's what that is. No pill is gonna freaking, you think a pill is supposed to, make you change certain habits? That's witchcraft. And people think a pill is supposed to change certain habits. Or a pill is supposed to control how you act or behave a certain way. I heard that psychiatric medications and a lot of mainstream medicine is pharmakia and witchcraft that they said Christians should stay away from. And that Jesus said in the Bible that whole people need not a physician, only they that are sick. So if you're eating right, eating healthy and all that, you don't need a doctor. But the system is designed for, if you eat unhealthy and then you get sick, and then you get more sick with more medication, more. And they said that the chemical medication is just a Band-Aid, But, wow, more flies. I'm almost done with this video. But, I have no cash and now $11 and 40 something cents left in the bank, and I'm would like to work on a short story this afternoon, but it's not a promise, but I'll try. And I wanted to work on two short stories, but I look like I might have only enough time for one. But I don't plan to live stream this evening, but maybe tonight. Um, and the area, like by the homeless sleep spot, I don't even know if I can go there tonight because of the French Quarter Fest. You know, I don't know if I'm able to go there tonight, but I don't have any funds for a hotel. Oh, my left side is hurting. Um, so I have like $11.45 in the bank, and PayPal or Cash App, they take out a certain fee. I feel like for now I just need help with $2. Excuse me, to stay on the safe side, $1 or $2 Cash App to make ends meet for dinner to eat. To cover enough funds for dinner to eat. But shout out to the targeted individual that tried my recipe. It really made my day. I was smiling ear to ear, and that was the happiest that I've been in a long time. But as predicted, I knew that if I shared the video, I knew the stalkers would come and flood her page, trying to turn her against me when she's targeted us as well. But one time they tried to come and harass her and make fake profiles of her, and she told them off and put them in their place, and they backed off and left her alone. But yeah, anybody that supports me or is nice to me and that talks to me, the stalkers try very hard, so desperately to get in their head and spread their lies, malicious and intentional lies, and trying to turn people against me and stuff. Anybody that's supportive, and I keep telling y'all that fake Darnell, keeps illegally hacking in and blocking people from talking to me in my live streams. That's not right or fair at all. But if they're talking to me and not donating, they will harass them for not donating. But they will harass someone for whether they donate or not. And the stalkers are stealing souls. They're a satanic cult that's trying to convert people to the devil. And y'all keep falling for it. Come on, man. I cannot believe how many people got compromised and lost their souls behind me, both online and in person, within the past few months. But you sell your soul to the devil for money, or you betray somebody for money? Who's the greedy one? So, yeah, I didn't want to be extra long and couldn't be extra long. But I'm going to get off here and I'm going to do another quick video. But as I said, y'all won't see this until either tonight or in the middle of the night or something, or maybe this evening. But I'll be right back.